Hey everybody, this is Grace and I'm outside. Finally decided to get outside at 7:36 p.m. I don't allow myself to stay inside all day anymore, like I had to during 2020 because of my rare health condition. And nope, I've always been one that even before then, there were times when I would say, oh, I don't want to go out, but no, I would push myself to go out. That's me pushing me, not suggesting it to anybody else. Anyway, I thought I'd come out here, even if it's just out here, to make a video. Now in this video, to get to this, I want to talk about people who, they're not very realistic about how people out in the world are going to behave. Now, I know, stop looking at me. Because I make complaints about, I used to make videos called Life in Narcissismville. It was not meaning this one area, and it does not exist. Of course, Narcissismville doesn't exist. But it was that, it was just places I'd go to, people I'd see there. The way some people would behave was so narcissistic. But at the same time, I'm well aware this is a thing. I see a lot more of histrionic behaviors. And I know that people, they hear histrionic, and I remember when I was young, studying psychology and sociology at university, I would think even the histrionic meant more like hysteria. And when you study that at university, you hear basically how that was being used against women and so on and so forth. Get over that. Get to where it is now. And actually, do what you want to do. I don't tell anybody what to do at all. But yeah, it's different. It's the behaviors of this, people who have to be the center of attention. Well, center of control, some of them, but center of attention. They don't care if it's negative attention or positive attention. They just have to be center of attention. And it seems like that in their minds, that's how they see it. And they don't care what they do to some people. The way they dress, the way they laugh, the way they look, the way they speak, so loud, all of it so loud. And not all of them do the same thing. But, when they're younger, it's quite often, it's very provocatively. Sometimes when they get older, they change, or they just try to look a lot younger. They're gossips, they're the adult mean girls, they want to be the queen bee, on and on. Okay. That's what I see more of. And it's not just females. So, but anyway, narcissistic people too. So, but the people I'm talking about, they tend to be more, have those behaviors. Okay, but their view in life is that they're somehow so special and so above it all that that people out in society should treat them, should suddenly change. And it's like, oh, they did that on TV. Oh, here comes this queen or this king, and everybody needs to change their ways. I'm trying to be dramatic here. I'm actually using my hands. I can't be like that. But yeah, they truly seem to believe that people are supposed to basically drop whatever they're doing and make sure they treat them, in this wonderful, they're standing on the top of the pedestal, or they're sitting on the top of a pedestal way. And we have to make sure that everything goes exactly right for them. They're very unrealistic. Seriously. But they have such a view of themselves that it's just quite amazing how they think that, if the world doesn't stop for them and make sure that everybody all others fade away, and that they are the center of that person, that employees say attention, and that employee is right there and just thinking only about the person who thinks they're the best thing in the world. You see, and they deserve, they're so entitled. Yeah. Now, I want to say, I also believe that there's customer service, okay? Good customer service would be to not be rude. There's no reason to be rude. If there's no reason to be rude to a customer, or a customer be rude to the person working there, no reason. Why be that? Everybody has, is doing whatever they're doing. No person working there needs to have their day ruined because you want to be, think that you're way up there and they're way down there, and you're going to speak to them in some manner you think is appropriate, and vice versa. Got it? Works both ways. But there are some people out there who truly believe that all these people at any place of business, at anywhere, is supposed to just stop for them and treat them the best possible way. Okay, now that's one thing. And then I was thinking about this. Another thing. It's the same kind of thing, and it involves that kind of thing. Let me give people a hint. Okay. If you say you have a parent or a grandparent who's in a senior living community, they could call them something different these days in where you live. I think they just recently changed the terminology for it. But just think, senior living community, whether it's all the way to what they call memory care, like somebody has dementia or some kind of cognitive, whatever going on, malfunction, really. But cognitive problems, whatever it is. Or it's just, somebody there for, like in this nursing homes. I don't know if they've changed the name to that now these days too. But where they were in the hospital, they're senior or whatever, they need more additional help, so they put them in a nursing home for a while. Now, if you have somebody in there, in one of those, and you're the daughter or the granddaughter, okay, I'm going to say all women in this, no reason, just doing that, and you on Sunday, okay, to jump to this, say on Sunday you have you have your mother in a senior living community, and so you want to go pick up your mother and take her to lunch on Sunday. You thought it would be a nice idea. Maybe you're in town and your other sibling is what mainly takes care of all that. So you go to the senior living community to pick up your mother. She's not there. She's at church. Did you ever consider that your mother might be at church? Whatever day it is. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever day. They go to church, and then afterwards they go to lunch. Okay? Do you ever consider that maybe you need to call first? I know, believe me, my mother was in and out. She had pneumonia one time, and then at the end of it, she had dementia. And, memory care. She had to be in memory care. But you have to call, because they might not be there. And who would you call? Okay, don't say Ghostbusters. Who would you call? You would call, to me, okay, you can call the nurse and say, that. You can call the front, whomever answers, would get it to the activity director. Or, what was the activity director? What was the other name for it? Had two names. Oh, speaking of memory care. But they had two different names for the same thing. Like in a senior living community, it was an activity director. A nursing home, what was it? Oh, forget it. I've forgotten. Okay, all right. I decided to look it up. And they're all now called activity directors. Yeah, things change so quickly. But anyway, that would be the person who needs to know. If you're planning on coming to pick up your, your parent or something. Because guess what? People who live in senior living communities, nursing homes, if they can, they can go out. Go places. Like imagine this, in both kinds of homes, even those that are really expensive, some of them you wouldn't believe how expensive, for these seniors to live in. And guess where a lot of them like to go? And I've heard this kind of consistently. They like to go to Walmart and to Dollar Tree and to places like that. So they might be out on one of those, or they like to go to, some of them take them to the places like where they go and they actually pick their own fruit. And I'm not talking like a farmer's market, but you know, they go up to a tree and pick their whatever it is, or a tomato, or whatever they have there. It's some farm, and they pick up their own. They like doing that. And some like to go to museums. And there's so many different places, depending on what they can afford, you know, what the senior living community, I'm going to call them all senior living community, nursing homes, you know, all of it together. What they can afford to do. So don't think the world should stop because you want to go pick up your mom for lunch on Sunday, and that they should have known somehow that you were on your way there. Now, these things can change too. Imagine how many people those activity directors are having to deal with, not just the patients, their residents, not just them, but their family members. Can you imagine how many family members some of them have? Wow, I have 4 siblings myself, and yeah, can you imagine how many that they had to deal with? 5 of us, in other words. But yeah, that's just one person. That would be just one. That's one resident has how many people in their lives that they have to deal with. Well, they need to know, if you're going to come pick them up, they're going to have to leave your parent there. Let them know. The activity director, let somebody know. Let the nurse know. The nurse can let and say, tell the nurse to let the person know. You know? Don't just expect the world to stop for you. And then, be all rude and say, how dare they, when they're not there. They actually went out with the group to Walmart, to Dollar Tree, to, malls. I don't think so much anymore, but wherever they're going to, whatever, they go to restaurants. Like I said, so many different places. They're going out with a group, the people they live with now. Live around their community. Are you going to complain that they're actually getting out and doing stuff? Because you feel like the world should stop for you to do what you want. How many of us know people like this, really? Okay, it's starting to get dark out here, although you don't see it. But it actually looks lighter in my camera, on my camera. But, yeah, I wanted to point some of these things out. Think about, before you start to mouth off how, everybody's doing things wrong. Really, I know, stop looking at me. I make videos. My first original channel was not that. That will be 11 years in August. This month, however, on my second channel, I had switched it 10 years ago this month to, like I said, I keep saying this month, but to talk about narcissistic people, histrionic, toxic people all around, and dysfunctional families and such. My degree, I'm a social and behavioral scientist, so this would be something I would focus on. And so that is my focus, and I am trained. I was a career student over 20 years. So am I perfect with it? No. And those people who act like they're perfect with things, ooh, man, scary. Career student over 20 years, taught at college and university, yeah. Anyway, but the whole thing of some people, and seeing it, and seeing you know, I don't want to blame any victim, but there are people out there who will, well, that's up for another video. And people who, yeah, anyway. But this of thinking the world must stop for you and everybody must treat you a certain way. It's, you know, they have you on a pedestal and the whole world should know that you are that. I'm seeing this in such a disgusting way lately. And I mean, I know what follows, because it's like a script. It can play out for a while. No certain date, no stamp. Okay, you only have this many days for this to happen. Nope, none of that. And it can go back and forth and round and round and round. But there's usually, to sum them all up, I didn't understand this term when I first heard it. I mean, it's kind of easy to catch on to, but called e-beggars. Electronic beggars, you know, people who make videos or however it is online, whatever they do. But, you know, they can be on any of these social media platforms begging for money. Oh, my alarm's going off. For me to go in and take my medicine. But anyway, they'll do this. And I can see, oh my goodness, the whole thing of putting themselves up to where, you know, they're supposed to be basically praised, glorified. They receive special treatment as if they're king or queen, whatever is the case. And everybody needs to know this. And those who are watching will hear them. You know, let everybody know. So, oh my goodness. Okay, I'm wrapping up. Talk to you on another video. Bye.